can a member of the warrior caste have loans, debts, or a mortgage, but pay them off on time and thus reduce this burden? Thank you for your answer. Yes, Irina, absolutely. In our reality, this is possible. You can be a practical person and still think about the beauty, the charm of your nails, as a classic once said. Or, to rephrase, you can have loans, mortgages, and so on, and still remain a warrior, understanding that, firstly, your duty to fulfill your obligations not only becomes very important to you, but also realizing what a fool you were to get involved in all this in the first place. Because not only is it important to fulfill your obligations, but also to draw conclusions from these obligations, this is very important for a person of the warrior caste. This situation should reveal to you all the vulnerabilities in your life that led you to take such a reckless step that drove you into bondage. In search of an answer to this question, you will not only look deep within yourself, but also pay closer attention to your surroundings, realizing to what nightmares banking and debt bondage can lead even the most wonderful, the brightest, the purest, the most highly developed and educated people. You will indeed see what this truly does to our reality, to the system in which you live, to the profound ideals you once held. You will turn to historical records and see, and learn, how through financial banking and other oppressive usurious bondage, entire dynasties once ultimately collapsed, whole royal houses completely perished, ceased to exist and entirely died out, entire bloodlines vanished forever. How a brother tragically betrayed his own brother, and a father, in a shocking turn, his very own son, and to what profound depths of human baseness those individuals could truly sink, whom you would never have suspected of such treachery. This is, as it were, an additional challenge for you, an extra obligation not just to come out of this situation with dignity, but also to strengthen and consolidate your consciousness, including through the life experience that is being offered to you within this very situation. You must thoroughly study this entire story from its very beginning to its absolute end, including precisely how this particular market operates, this intricate business of debt bondage. Who originally came up with it? And when exactly was it invented? Why was it created? What can be done using this tool? And what essential tools can be effectively used, including by you personally, as a robust protection against it, as a vital vaccine against this pervasive disease, as a comprehensive safeguard for yourself, for your beloved family, and for everyone under your diligent protection? If you truly understood the catastrophic consequences that debt prisons, crushing interest, and related financial mechanisms have historically caused, you would never even consider approaching establishments ominously called bank, quick loan, and so on. No matter how attractive their offers may initially seem, the unfortunate flip side is always far, far worse, because you will truly never have a genuine choice. Because it is always the debtor who suffers. Because it is always the debtor who bears the responsibility. Even back in the tumultuous and often brutal Middle Ages, when European rulers simply lacked the practical means to effectively fulfill their significant financial obligations, they would often just get rid of the troublesome matter in a rather drastic way, meaning they would simply and quite directly kill their creditor and thus be completely done with the entire inconvenient situation. Unfortunately, this extreme and morally questionable approach never actually solved anything fundamental or prevented future problems from arising. And all examples, every single historical retrospective, unequivocally show us just how profoundly wrong such actions truly were. because perhaps the debtor himself, in the moment, managed to rid himself of the problem temporarily. But his children were then forced to pay for it many times over, and the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, right up until the entire line of rulers was wiped out, losing, as a result, the right to power. That's why you, as a warrior, surely understand that you won't lose nearly as much. But at the very least, these examples will show you how easily one can lose even the highest statuses, even sacred blood covenants with the gods, which in ancient times served as guarantors and protectors, upholding the ruler's rightful authority